Welcome back to the Old Barn on Ann Street. This is the Tuesday edition of Barn Raising Week, in which we show you all the work we did to raise the back corner of the barn and to redo the floor and pour a new slab for the classroom in the back area where Janet teaches her classes. It was a lot of work. I have to tell you, we had no idea what we were getting into, and I'd never done any of this kind of stuff before. And I got to tell you, I was pretty nervous about it. To be honest, I found a lot of reasons to keep kind of procrastinating and not kind of doing the work because I was afraid of what would happen. I'd never really done it before. And in the end, I mean, there was even a Hurricane Lee that came last year that right about when we were going to jack up the barn gave me another excuse to delay a few more days. But eventually we had to get started. So today is the day that the real work begins in this barn raising week. So let's get started. So today's job is a job that I have never done before, but really is an important job for this barn and the long-term life of this barn and the safety of the people in it. When we bought the barn, the inspection, pre-inspection told us that this corner behind me of the barn was sagging. And in a minute, I'll tell you why, but I've used my laser level to find out it's sagging about 4.5 inches. So what we need to do is jack this back up to level and then fix the foundation. And then before we pour that slab of concrete in this back portion of the barn. So let me show you what the problem is, or where the problem begins and what we need to fix. So here we are outside the barn, that same corner of the barn, and you can see it's got the really old kind of foundation here. There actually you can see there was an older part of the barn and a newer part of the barn, and that little line between the different look of the foundation is old and new. That's where the addition started, and it's interesting that the old part looks in better shape than the new part. And by new part, I mean newer than the old because it's still probably 150 years old. So you can see some of the foundation stones over the years have begun to fall out. The main foundation you can see are these really big granite. Those aren't going anywhere. We just need to jack up this corner of the barn. You can see that the sagging of the barn has caused some of the siding to pull away. So the idea is we jack up the barn, repair the foundation, and then repair this wall, and everything should be nice and sturdy and strong for many, many years to come. I've got 3 different jacks, and I'm going to start by using my car jack and see how that works. And we'll use this 4x4 post, and I've put some kind of a header up on the top that we'll push up against. And so we're going to just put the post on the jack and slowly raise it up. Like I said, it's got to be about 4.5 inches. I'm going to put my laser level in place so we can see, when to stop. But we'll have to do this really slow. We don't have to worry about any drywall or anything like that because there's nothing like that in the barn. A lot of times when you jack up an old structure, particularly an old house, some of the plaster in the drywall and even the window, the shape of the windows kind of is affected by that. And so we don't really have to worry about that, though the wood is old. So we do want to do it slowly so we don't overstress the wood and that it'll still be in good shape when it's brought back up to level. So here we go. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let the games begin. Here we go. It sounded so hopeful when I shared the plan on how we were going to raise the barn, but the car jack idea did not even come close to working. But we learned a lot in the process, and it helped us to do the next steps better, and so it was a good learning experience. And you'll see in this next clip, at least I kept a positive attitude, and we made an interesting discovery along the way. So yeah, we're making progress as we're preparing to jack up the barn and redo the bottom plate and just strengthen the structure of this wall, these two walls. Couple things that I found kind of neat. We took the wood covering over this wall, and inside it was insulated, and it's kind of neat to see it was insulated with seaweed. So all of these sections of walls were filled with seaweed. We're gathering that up, and we have a friend who uses that, chips it up and makes it from mulch, so we're giving it to them. But here we are. So this has all been exposed. We took this one wall out here, put this post in here just to give some extra support there in the process. Now over here, you're going to see. So we tried testing our jacks, and as we were testing the strength of our jacks, we noticed they were sinking into the ground more than they were pushing the barn up. So to make sure that we have a strong foundation and a safe foundation for when we jack up the barn, I've just kind of dug down a few feet and put in a kind of a footing right there. And that the bracket there we'll use to put our 4x4 in there, and that we'll use to be the base so that we can safely jack up the barn. It's going to be a process where that's going to be drying overnight, and then hopefully tomorrow, after 24 hours or so, that'll be strong enough for us to do the rest of the work and continue on. But so when we started this process, like I've said, we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into, but we were learning as we went along. And so one of the things we learned was that putting that footing in the ground to be a strong base at the bottom of the jacks was a huge thing, a huge part of the process. I mean, to safely push the barn up, you need a strong foundation on the ground. And so that was a big step. But then we realized that we needed more than one jack, and of course a car jack wasn't going to work. So we got some bottle jacks, and we tried it with 2 jacks and 2 footings, and then we realized that wasn't enough, and in the end it was 4 jacks, 4 footings to push up the bottom of this barn. It was a process that took a number of weeks, and it doesn't show that whole process in the videos, but it was a part of the learning, a part of the process. I was nervous at the beginning, but I really enjoyed the process because I was learning and doing something new, and it was exciting to see it start to put together and start to work. So here's a clip of what you're going to see tomorrow when we were jacking it up with 4 jacks. Thanks again for joining us today. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Old Barn on Ann Street, Barn Raising Edition. I hope you join us tomorrow. Why not click on that portrait of the barn and become a subscriber and join us every single day. So we'll see you tomorrow.